All right, if you're now joining, it's 40 minutes after 6 o'clock. We are about to find out what's happening with the town hall meeting in Queens, New York. The leader of the opposition, Aubrey Compton Norton, is going to be addressing concerned Guyanese in the within the five boroughs. Maybe folks from outside of the five boroughs will be there as well. But it's the first time in a long time that they have a town hall meeting in Queens, New York, and rest assured the PVP folks are very, very upset about it. They got to realize that before Guyanese started to reside in that territory, people like them, people with their skin color, our skin color, right, were not allowed in that area. It is ironic that they are now comfortable in that area as a result of people, the very people that they hate, that they are similar like in terms of ethnicity, because when you fill out a form in the US, you've got to put your ethnicity. And a lot of these guys don't know. A lot of them have to put black. African American, they have to put black because there's no other box for them to tick in. I remember many years ago when there was a basement issue, and I joined that protest because there were the Caucasian folks who didn't want Guyanese, and more so they were protesting against our Indian brothers and sisters from Guyana because they were living in basements. They were protesting, and so we had to stand up. I was right there in the midst of the community, standing up with them, fighting against those guys who didn't want people to live in basement. Not because I was living in a basement, but because a lot of them were living in basements. And the Caucasian guy said, hey, we don't want that. And then there was an issue too with the religious practices and Jandi flags and so forth. And we were there again. Lo and behold, these guys are now protesting a Guyanese politician who's there to give an update as to what is happening in Guyana. I don't know, the strength of the community has to do with sacrifices made by people who look like us, but were fighting the struggle way before many of us start to live in Queens or wherever, way before a lot of those guys who are out there making themselves a poppy show ever thought of coming to America, whether the right way or the wrong way. You know what I mean? And so let's go to what transpired just a few minutes ago to give you a rundown. We are going to go inside, though, because that is what is important. Inside is important. But just to show you how these guys are operating, and I'll identify a couple of them for you and let you know why we should protest against that as well. Take a look at what happened just minutes ago.
Community. Look at them.
But then we need to tell the people the truth.
Look at them.
Let them protest.
Protesting the opposition leader. You gotta go and protest your government. He is not in government. What has he done to you? Plus, I got y'all on this ice to y'all face, living in a basement. Much of y'all run from y'all own country, living in a basement and out there protesting opposition leader. You mad? You mad? Look at you. Talking about our housing and all kinds of nonsense. Like if we in government. No sense y'all ain't got. No, I don't. Oh, see, don't come over here, because I get him vexed. Don't tell them there's not Guyana where it's control the police force. There's not Guyana where it's control the police force.
Now let's go back on this tape here for a quick
Look
minute,
at you.
because I want you guys to see
Talking
something.
about what housing and all kinds of nonsense. Like if we in government. No sense y'all ain't got. No, I don't. Oh, see, don't come over here, because
Okay, take a look at that guy. That guy who is part of the protest works, from my information, works at the Guyana consulate. He works there. I don't know if his job is that of a political activist, but he's out there protesting today. Is that the job? Is that what taxpayers are paying him to do? We've definitely got to look into it. But this guy was actually allowed to leave the airport of Guyana after he assaulted a woman. They later settled the matter. And these are the kind of goons that they have out there. And many years ago, this guy went to prison for assaulting a minor over a situation. I guess they were fighting over some little boy or whatever. And I just give you a background as to these people who are out there protesting. I wonder if the NYPD guys know these guys and what criminality they're up to, really. Lots of things. So I just really, really want you guys to see the type of individuals that are actually out there pretending to be fighting for democracy, pretending. And you see, they have no shame. They have absolutely no shame. But let's get back into this video that was done earlier by Shondell Smith Daniels. And thanks to Shondell Smith Daniels for that. Take a look at this. Take a look at this goon. Take a look at him. These guys, absolutely no shame. Let's get on the ground there and see what's happening. Hi, Terrence. How are you doing, sir? What's happening on the ground there right now inside?
Good. All the time. And you were looking good there.
Yeah, can you hear me, sir?
Can you
hear
see
me?
it, Mark? I'm hearing you. I don't know if you're
What's
seeing
happening
anything.
inside the building right now?
They're about to get started. They're praying now.
Okay, what's happening outside? Because we don't necessarily
We
want to
have
focus too much with the outside.
about
But what's going
20
on?
people protesting.
Okay.
Can you see my camera?
Yeah, we want to see the people, and we are seeing your camera. We're seeing
Tell me
you.
if you see anything.
Yeah, of course, we're seeing you. About.
Right, I need to turn the camera around.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right.
Don't do like what a guy from Kokwani did. Instead of he turning the camera around, he turned around.
All right, hang on. I got to figure this out, Mark.
Oh, please do. Yeah. We'll remove him while he figure it out. And we thank these guys who are making these things possible for us right here on 107.1 FM. Please share the link. We are going to hear what the message is about, but we have decided to carry this because we want you to see the goons who are out there protesting. Imagine a community, the Queens area, where people like us, even before we got there, fought so that immigrants can go there and live. It doesn't matter the immigrants' ethnicities or whatever, but these guys are now protesting people who want to kick them out of Queens. But I don't even know where this goon came from, O.C. Rogers or whatever. These guys are goons. These guys are not, individuals of any substance. And look what. Let's head back to that Shondell Daniels Smith, or Smith Daniels. Sorry about that, Shondell. Let's hear what's happening here.
I get him vexed. Don't tell them there's not Guyana where it's control the police force.
You will arrest us.
There's not Guyana where it's control the police force. You see how they're gonna come out and protest over here? We can't do that with your country. They're locking you up for protesting. Locking you up.
Hold a minute.
Stay right there.
Rest. I want you to know this one.
Yeah, I know that.
So
I undercover too.
because the man says he's going to shut the place down and kill the meeting if
Okay,
anything
all right,
starts.
all
And
right.
told me
What's
that-
going on? That's the thing. Nothing is going on. The police and all, and you want to keep it.
Let them stay right over there. You're not welcome here.
All right, Mark, what are we doing now?
Stay right there. Not here.
Guyana needs builders, not dividers.
Yep, we are hearing you loud and clear. What's happening out there?
Can you see the people across the street?
No, I'm seeing your face.
I don't know what's going on, Mark. Yes.
Yeah.
I'll send you the link. If I send you the link,
Let him know I'm here.
Mark, I'm gonna send it to someone else.
And you got to learn how to turn your camera around at least sometime.
That's what I'm figuring out. I know how to do it. I just never did this before.
I got you,
I'm
sir.
gonna send it to someone else. Hold on.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it,
Okay.
though. Yeah. 2023. Yeah, he's going to figure out how to turn his camera around. But we appreciate the fact that he took time out to do all of this for us. We don't have to pay him anything, but please do spread the word that we are carrying this event live. But the main thing, other than to hear what the leader of the opposition has to say, we want to show you guys how the PPP goons operate. And these ungrateful individuals out there living in a community that was basically fought for inclusivity. People during the civil rights struggle, they fought for these sort of things to happen. But lo and behold, these guys now turn out to be ungrateful. They feel that they can divide up the community and all manner of things. I'm not saying that all are like that at all, but I'm talking specifically about these goons, these PPP goons who are out there. They're not going to intimidate people. In fact, I urge the organizers of this event to have more events like these in Queens. More events like these in Queens. And I hope those of you who are in Queens right now can head down there and just ensure that you have a presence right there, right now. It's Starlight Pavilion, 130-05, 101st Avenue, Jamaica. Starlight Pavilion. If you're using your GPS and you type it in, you'll get the address, 130-05, 101 or 101st Avenue in Jamaica, Queens. Just head on down there, guys. Some of you may just have gotten in from work. Feel free, just step on, see what's going on. Let's continue. The focus is not so much about those goons out there, because that's who they are, goons. Those are the same, couple of them were the same set of goons who set up that meeting in front of civils a couple months back with the Republican candidate, right? With the Republican candidate. Let's head out down there, see what's going on.
Camera.
Yep.
Yeah,
We can just have the camera turn around.
1 second, sir.
We got it, Keith. And good to see you.
Good to see you, brother.
Glad you haven't put an ad out for me, but let's see there.
There's an arrow that allows you to pick rear camera.
It's okay.
It's complicated.
All right, guys. We have some of our friends, 107.1 FM. They are trying to get things going for us, and we're hoping that very soon we're able to hear what's happening in the building, because that is what's more important. But we are getting a live footage here. Sorry, let's see what's happening outside there, outside of the building right now. That is in Queens. This is what's happening. The guys are, some of them, the PPP goons they're across the street protesting, which is what it's supposed to be. Stay across the street. Stay right there and shout whatever nonsense they want to shout, because Guyana is like an apartheid state. That is what it is, an apartheid state out there in Guyana. And just a handful of them, the goons, the usual suspects, they're out there. One particular goon, O.C. Rogers, works at the Guyana consulate, but yet he's out here protesting. And if in fact he's conducting party business, the question is, why is that goon allowed to be in the Consul General's office working and getting paid by the taxpayers of Guyana? So that's what's happening outside now. Gentlemen, any activity inside? All right, we just want to know whether there's anything happening inside, and if so, our partners there at 107.1 FM can take the cameras inside now. Let us hear, because inside is really important.
All right, we're taking you inside.
Thank you so much. And for those of you who want to head down there, it's in Queens. This is the address, 130-05 101st Avenue, Jamaica. Yes, we definitely are going to hear what's happening inside right now. We showed you guys what's happening with the goons outside. They have nothing better to do. We probably carry some mitai and pulori for them, and a bag, a swank, in that plastic bag. Just give them a bag of swank, and that's it. Because I'm pretty sure they just probably waking up or whatever, and probably hungry or thirsty for some swank. All right. And for those of you who wish to head down there and to hear what is happening, it's 130-05 101st Avenue in Jamaica. So head on down there, and just to let these guys out in Queens know that, let them know that the PPP guys will not have they cannot have a field day in Brooklyn either, because they have a thing that's called do for do, right? Good, do for do. Do for do. And God in heaven knows what is it. What is it that they are protesting about? What exactly it is that they're saying? What are they protesting about? Maybe for what? A box of food? Maybe that's what, remember these things, karma. Karma is a thing, A box of food. Imagine they're out there hungry, 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 protesting for a box of food. Good evening to all of you guys. We're still waiting. To get the link so that we can hear what's happening inside of the building. We're not too bothered and we're not too concerned about what's happening outside of the building. Too much, those, what do you call it? Those, it's like you're looking into a pen that is filled with donkeys. And that's what it's about. But we've got to stay focused. And that is what it is all about. I'm not sure what's happening with our guys on the ground, but we want to be able to hear what's happening in that at that event. Jenny's Booker and all of you guys, Seafaries, Pride, box of cook up, of course. That is what it is about. You take a look. Not too many of them turned out there. They think that they are in Guyana where they can pay and bully and bribe certain senior members of the Guyana police force and so forth. But the very rights that the PPP, the corrupt, racist PPP, the very rights that they are denying Guyanese back home, these guys want to enjoy that. And that's the right to protest. And people can't protest in Guyana without being arrested, without being threatened to be put in jail, without being beaten by the police and so forth and so on. And so that's what we see. But over in America, they're enjoying the rights to do all of these things as a result of people who they hate, mind you. And there is no justifiable reason for these people to be calling people black man and these are. There's no just look. Some of them are darker than charcoal, if you know what I mean. Darker than charcoal. But let's stay focused, mind you. We want to stay focused, and we're not sure what's happening here. Let's.
August for below the age of 35. When those applications were being scrutinized, the only criteria
what's happening. Yeah. Can you guys get a little closer?
Mandated outside of academics was that one, the participant must be a male and one must be a female. It has nothing else to do with political affiliation because we did not send PNC children alone. And it had nothing to do with ethnicity because all 4 children were not African children alone. So it shows that when it comes to unity for us, the Guyanese people of these 7 races, not 6 anymore, because over the years we have made a 7th one. And for too long we have been growing together, inculcating into the children that we are separated based on race. And when you actually look at history, there is no differentiation of race between East Indians and Africans. They fall under the same category. So in actuality, we're teaching them the wrong thing. So when it comes to unity, this party is the only one that has shown it and has preached it over the years to accommodate everybody. It is sometimes disheartening that when you seek those in educated status to ask them about their opinion, especially of the opposing party, they sometimes make reference to 1 cases out of 100, or they may sometimes find the exception. When you do your studies, especially
Yep, sorry about that. We just lost connection there. Hopefully our guys on the ground will rectify that. The speaker is making some valid points. Do share the link. And again, if you are in the vicinity, please do drop by and see what's happening there. Guys on the ground, we have lost you. I'm not sure.
one thing I travel outside Guyana, I implore people, don't social media. I can give you 2 quick examples because I know you're.
All right, sorry about that again. We've lost connections there. Nothing to do with us at this end. We want you guys to hear everything that's happening in the meeting. We want the cameras to be there. We have cameras outside as well, so that we take the faces of those individuals in the event they want to pretend that they can behave bad and the bullyism. It's not going to work. We don't accept that at all. This is not Guyana. They may be able to get away with it. Some of them get away with assaulting women. Some of them get away with murder. Some of them get away with drugs. Some of them get away with insurance fraud and all manner of things. But this is the USA, right? This is the USA, where we see officials, former officials of the White House, chief of staff, and all these big top officials, including an ex-president of the United States who just about 27 minutes or so will be arraigned, his mugshot will be taken, and all manner of things. Let's head back there in the ground.
Those programs were not closed down because it was not working, because there is data to support us working in the National Assembly. Those programs were closed down because it was not created by the government, or it was not placed in what they will deem to be their area of support. When we created, we did not put it in our area of support. We put it in the area where there was a larger population of illiterate young people, because you don't want to disenfranchise them by having them travel to areas outside home, because that can negate their minds from going to study. Additionally, education in the school system, today CSEC, if you pay attention again, I would have received the current CX results today. For the second time in a row, Queen's College did not get the top spot. It went to a countryside school again. When you look at the teaching population at countryside school, 30% of that teaching staff are untrained teachers. So it's not saying that you can make it without having them untrained, but what it's saying is that from the inception of this government's installation, they claimed one thing, that we have universal secondary education. There is a misconception when you are not educated. There's a misconception when you
We're still on, right?
Are we going back outside to see what's happening there and to hear exactly what is it that they're protesting about?
Let me get your comment, sir. Is your live broadcast? Is there something to say? Have something to
We're
say?
doing something now.
Okay.
This is you beating a woman, sir.
Yeah, that's okay.
This is you
that's
beating
okay?
a woman. Yes, this is this man beating a woman.
And that's okay.
Oh, see, this is you beating a woman. Look at it, man.
Well, listen.
And you're preaching righteousness?
Yes, of course.
You're-
Because first of
You
all,
are disrespectful.
you are disrespectful. Because first of all, we
You're
have an
here
interview
speaking
here.
to a woman, an eloquent
You're
woman.
speaking to a
You beating
woman.
on a woman.
Does she know you beat up a woman
Did she
in
know-
the
did she know about
market in
this?
Guyana?
Did she know
Alright,
about
so
this?
let's listen.
So we
listen.
are here.
Since we-
There is a
so,
video
brother,
here.
Yes,
Can you
there's
play
this
that
video, Mark.
That's what he's
Let's
about.
talk about what the
Yeah,
video is
tell
about.
her what it's about.
Can we see this
Yeah,
video?
of course. Stop the phone 1 second.
Yeah, let's
Pause
talk.
it.
Just
No, don't pause it. Let her watch it.
What is your name?
Let her watch
Sorry,
it.
what
My
is
name is Keith IC Don Henry.
Can you step in?
Justify for the
Somebody
people
gets
why
hit
you
on.
would
sure,
put your
of course.
hands on a woman.
Yeah, of course I can.
Please do.
Of course. You want to bring the video? Bring up the video.
The
Let's
video's
stop
right
the video.
here.
This video.
Right? So the first, don't stop the video. Just pause it. Okay, cut your
Listen,
phone.
we're not going to pause when you feel like
No,
pausing.
that's what I'm saying. So
All right.
I could show you.
Good. Here.
Right? You want me
The
to
fact
answer or
that-
not?
Listen to me.
Do you want me to answer or
Listen to
not?
me.
Do you want me
You
to
beat
answer
on
or
a woman
not?
to fly the country.
Huh?
I am here to
And
trust you.
I've been there 5 times
Hear me?
after that.
I
5
am here
times
to,
after that.
because you are part of the People's Progressive Party, a criminal party. That's
You're-
why you're allowed to do that.
No, you're part of a
And
criminal
I'm
party.
here. I
You're
just
here.
see you.
You're here to
And you would
confront me
not
because
beat,
you are a criminal
you would
party.
not do me.
Let
like
him
that.
explain the
You are
video.
here
Let him
as a
explain the
part of
video.
a criminal
Let him
party.
explain it.
Right? You are here part of the criminal party. It is
Explain the video.
Our political party.
Tell me
tried to
what's
Explain the
happening in
video.
this
Tell
video.
her.
They don't want to hear. They
Okay,
don't want to hear.
we
the
want to
truth.
hear now, man.
Okay, so
What is this video showing?
This video showing this man beating on a woman in Guyana, and he was allowed to fly out the country because of the party he's affiliated with. Why were you not arrested?
So why you gotta ask it?
You know why were you not?
Let her ask the question.
You guys know when you're ready for me to answer.
She's asking you a question.
She's asking you a
No, I
question.
want to answer you first.
She's asking you a question,
Yeah.
sir.
Go ahead.
So there's
Go ahead.
a video here
Uh-huh.
showing you slapping a woman.
Yes.
Can you explain?
Yeah,
what
sure
is
I
going
can.
on here?
Sure I can. So I first of all, I'm asking them to bring up the video so we can deal with the video.
Okay.
Hi Mark, hi your viewers. Right, so we can deal with the video. Because I can,
This video?
right?
Notice he keep repeating the same
Yeah,
thing. The
because
video
I'm
is
trying to
watching.
get you to bring up the
Okay,
video.
the
Now,
video.
first of all, right? Can I touch your phone?
Sure.
Right? First of all, you see at the bottom there. Pause it. Pause it. Just pause it.
Let's go.
Right? You guys think that we're not smart enough to know your
Oh, come
doctor
on,
work,
come on,
right?
baby.
Oh,
First of all,
doctored.
First of all, come on.
This is what you're gonna do now, sir?
You can give me. You ask
You
me
are
a
going to
question.
lie
You
about
ask
your
me a
face?
question,
Okay,
and I'm trying to answer your question.
Okay,
I'm trying to answer your question. Can I answer your
Here what we
question?
gonna do?
Let the
Here what we
reporter
gonna
get
do?
it. Let the,
You're
no,
gonna be a
listen,
man
listen.
and stop
No,
talking
no,
lies
listen
about
to me.
doctor
Listen to
video.
me. Listen to me. Listen. Let the reporter
I'm
deal
not
with it. Let the
intimidated by
reporter
you.
deal
And
with
I
it.
am not intimidated by you
I'm
either.
not intimidated by you. I am
Let
not
the
scared and I'm
reporter
not
deal with it.
intimidated
Let
by
her
you.
embarrass him. Let the reporter
You don't
deal with
wanna
it.
hear
Go ahead,
the
ask your
truth.
question,
Lying.
sweetheart.
You don't want to hear the truth.
Ask your question. Ask your question.
Answer the stuff, sir.
I am not.
Answer the stuff.
But I'm trying to answer. I'm trying to become an idiot. Get away from here. Well,
What you said, sir?
I just said get away from here.
No. It's
What,
all
what
right.
about him? What about
Let's
him?
go.
Remember, I'm one man.
Doesn't want to
You
deal
won't
with
put
it.
your hands on me.
Good job, guys.
You are a criminal. Any man that hit a woman is a coward.
Are you there, Mark?
Good job. Yep, they should have asked him about the fact that he assaulted a little boy or a little
Mark,
girl.
you know I'm on it. I'm not gonna let him get away.
Yep.
I'm not gonna let him get away. They're not gonna walk out here and be preaching righteousness. When you hit a woman, hit me. I'm in front of your face now.
Absolutely. And that's not the first time too. He went to jail for assaulting a little girl.
He is trying to say that the video is doctored. That's what he's trying to. Oh, see, he just told that woman the video is doctored.
All right, guys, leave it alone. Come on.
That guy is sick.
He shouldn't talk. He is charged for beating a woman.
And charged and went to prison for beating a little girl too.
And went to prison for beating a little girl.
From charges of beating a
Mind you,
woman
mind you,
in Guyana.
mind you,
He should be allowed to talk about anybody.
mind you, he was also locked up for beating a kid.
He went to prison for
He
it.
went
to
for
prison for-
prison for a child, a minor. He's a pedophile.
Tell the reporter that, sir.
You have to wait to speak facts. Don't speak lies.
Now let's hear what's going on outside. We'll head inside shortly. Let's hear what's outside. Action is outside. We can head back inside shortly.
Second one is that he's a believer in the greatest good for the greatest number. So when you look at that, even filling the blanks, so I would say now, ladies and gentlemen, the man, the patriot, the leader of the opposition, is Aubrey Norton.
Chairman, Mr. Rajan and the Central Councilman, all Guyanese present. It's always a special pleasure to speak to the Guyanese people, whether at home or in the diaspora. When I was last in the United States, I don't change remember, but he did say to me that, look, you had meetings in Brooklyn, and you should have, when you come here, a meeting in Richmond. I said to him then, I have no problem whatsoever, and I'm glad that we are realizing this opportunity this evening. And wherever they are, must be a concern to us. We're living at a time when we hear that Guyana is the fastest growing economy in the world. That is true. But is that the critical issue for the people of Guyana? The critical issue for the people of Guyana is whether the resources from this fastest growing economy in the world is meeting the people of Guyana.
Well said, well said.
In my last budget presentation as leader of the opposition, I made it very clear that I was deeply concerned about the budget because it fails to deal with the high cost of living and poverty. It is my sincere view that one of the best ways to overcome the ethnic problems is to ensure that the resources of Guyana meet all the people of Guyana. And I want to say to you today that I'm committed to ensuring the resources of Guyana meet every Guyanese. We're deeply concerned that as these resources come in, it is going to alleviate their families, their friends, and their favorites. When that happens in any oil-producing country, instability generates, poverty increases. And as you will observe from the statistics, that even while talking about the fastest growing economy in the world, we're seeing a situation where poverty is increased, and it is at 42%. And it is not peculiar to Guyana. It has happened in many countries in which there are oil resources. But a significant difference is, if we get the leadership that is needed, we can solve the problems. I wish to say to you, we have advocated in Guyana what we call a people-centered strategy for the development of Guyana. It is our concern that the strategy that is in place at present is not aimed at taking our people out of poverty. And for us in Guyana, poverty removal must be the major consideration. We have begun the process of advancing policies and strategies to do just that. Unfortunately, whenever we advocate a policy, those of you who follow the Vice President's press conferences will recognize he never ever deals with the issues raised.
Yeah.
He always resorts to ranting, raving, and being abusive. Our intention is not to be abusive. Our intention is to advocate policies that will help the people of Guyana. We have said that one of the fundamental problems facing our people is their inability to get mortgages because of unemployment, low wages, etc. It is in that context that we advocate through Parliament and generally that we will develop what we call a rent-to-own housing program. A rent-to-own housing program allows somebody who does not have the resources to establish that they can get a mortgage to enjoy the government building a house for them. And having built the house, they will pay rent. And when the cost for that house is recovered, it becomes zero. And we believe that that will contribute across race. It will transcend race. It will help every guy regardless of their ethnicity. And so we promote a rent-to-own housing scheme. We have also promoted in Guyana as an alternative to the present government what we call, I should give you a background. When the APNU AFC came to power in 2015, while there was talk about universal education, etc., a lot of people lacked the resources to get to school. Many of the children in the poor couldn't get to school. The David Ranger government then began to provide buses, boats, so that poor people, children, can get to school. We're saying now that with the advent of resources from oil, we should have a national schools transportation system that permit our children, regardless of where they find themselves, to get to school. And so, in government, we will put in place such a program. We also believe that many of the children, and a recent survey in the south of Georgetown would have shown that many children go to school without a meal, because to the extent that their parents are in poverty, it follows ipso facto that they will be. And therefore, we are saying oil resources should be used to provide children at least 2 hot meals in every school. The reason behind that is that it will allow them the basic nutrition they need to take education. There are those who say you want to create a dependent social welfare system. My answer to that is no. You are helping people who need help. A lot of times we talk about equality, but there is no equality among non-equals. And that is why there is need for equity, to give those who don't have more, so that they can catch up. And so we will advocate social programs that focus on the vulnerable, that focus on our youth, that focus on our women, that focus on our pensioners. I've said in Ghana, pensions are calculated when you retire. We have people in Ghana who retired in the 80s, whose pension can't last them 2 days. But yet, government has not addressed this question. I've said to all and sundry that our government will address it and bring those pensioners on par with existing costs. We cannot continue to have people who have contributed to our society living on a pension that was developed in 1970, 1980, but they live by 2023 prices. And so that will also be one of our focus. And here I'm talking about the workers who are obtaining a pension based on their job, not the old age pension. You have soldiers, policemen, teachers, many of whom retire and their pension is very low. We believe that we need to act to ensure those people access the resources needed to help them to live a proper life. For us, the focus must be not on economic growth only, but on lifting the quality of life of our people. That is what matters. If we can lift the quality of life of our people, then we are on the right path. And in this regard, we have advocated the need for a minimum livable income. You cannot, in a country, continue to give a 2% and a 5% increase and then expect to solve the problems. The government has said to us that they are not, even though with the oil resources, they are not giving the money increases because it will fuel inflation. But let me tell you the facts. If you look at the two major increase in salaries we had one under the Armstrong Arbitral Award, in which I think 10% was given. And during the David Granger period, 70% was given. In none of the two did we see an increase in inflation. So the Ghana experience does not suggest that it will produce inflation. And inflation will only be produced if you do not take the measures to ensure economically you can absorb the money that is there. Ghana finds itself in a position where ExxonMobil is in Ghana. There are more food to be purchased by people. And while ExxonMobil is a positive in terms of putting resources in Ghana, one of the negative consequences is that it is producing a situation where we need more local food, but we are not producing it. The task then of the government is to put the mechanisms in place to ensure we produce more food. The government continues to focus on Region 2, 3, parts of 4, 5, and 6. But regions like 1, the Northwest, 7, Bartica area, 8, Madhya, 9, the Rupununi, 10, Linden and Region 10. Those communities do not have proper agricultural programs, and therefore they are not producing the food they need to ensure that the people in those communities can access cheap food, all coming from the coast. And it is in this context that we said in my budget presentation that we will expand agriculture across the country to do 2 things. 1, to generate employment, and 2, to ensure you have a food stock that will contribute to a reduction in food price or a stabilization. We cannot continue with the high cost of living. And rather than addressing the high cost of living, what the government does is give excuses about inflation, etc. The task of any government is to manage the economy. I submit Ghana's economy is being mismanaged. I also want to make the point that the high level of corruption in Guyana is a real problem. It is estimated that if we curb the 25% corruption, we will have resources to do all the social programs I just spoke about. For those of you who are following, we passed a budget, I think, of 782 billion. And before half year, they came for 37, 61 billion. We're not talking millions. With no accountability. There exists in Ghana, from the inception of Parliament, a situation where you had a public accounts committee. This committee was always a committee to scrutinize the accounts. And what did the law say? The law says that any 3 members at the time could constitute it. I think the government has 4, the opposition 5. I might be wrong on the numbers. But what did the government do? The government came to Parliament, used its majority, and changed it to say you must have 2 government and 3 opposition. And what they do, since they don't want scrutiny, they do not come to public accounts. And therefore, you cannot even scrutinize their spending. It does appear to me their actions at the Public Accounts Committee was clearly aimed at them spending and not having to do obtain the scrutiny that should be had. We believe that all Guyanese should be concerned if our money is being spent and there is no accountability. That is a fundamental problem. Guyana has potential. And since I'm a little child, from the time I start to understand, I've been hearing about Ghana's potential. But I want to say to you today, Ghana's potential is threatened by a government that does not believe in the rule of law and inclusive forms of governance. Ghana is not going to progress with one political party believing that it has the right and the mandate to determine everything that happens in Ghana. And mind you, this is with a 1-seat majority. So it's not a case where you have an overwhelming majority. And when you exclude the opposition, you are really and truly seeking to exclude half of the country. It is virtually impossible to believe you're going to exclude half of Guyana and succeed. But when people focus on the narrow interest of getting rich at all costs, then that can be normal. What I'm saying to you is if we can place Guyana on a path to good governance and to ensure that our resources in the society meet our people, then we'll be in a much better position. And so politically, we're not interested in the facade. There's all this facade about hugging up people and shaking hands, etc. But we cannot focus on that. We have to focus on what is happening to our resources. One of the most fundamental definitions of politics is that politics is the authoritative allocation of resources. Put simply, that the resources in the society are allocated by the authorities, and how they are allocated matters. And we contend that they are allocated in a discriminatory way. And not only ethnic discrimination, political discrimination as well. There are Amerindians in Guyana who, when they disagree with the PPP, they face the brunt of the discrimination. There are Indo-Guyanese in Guyana who, when they don't agree with the People's Progressive Party, they feel the brunt of their actions. And so when we speak to the discrimination, yes, there is ethnic discrimination, but there is also political discrimination. We have said regularly, the government seems to believe it can wake up every day and give a cash grant here, a cash grant there, and believe they will solve the problems in Guyana. Cash grants cannot solve the problems of the people of Guyana. There is need for structured programs that will allow our people to get out of poverty. There is need for resources to be placed into micro and small businesses so that Guyanese can become involved in those businesses and improve their lives. We're not talking here only about social programs to help people. We are also talking about putting people in business so that they could generate income. We have advocated for a program to ensure there is the sustainable development of all communities. If we
All right, not sure what happened there. Hopefully, we'll get back in touch with our folks on the ground to continue to hear what the leader of the opposition has to say as he talks about the very, very bad situation there in Guyana. So, those who are operating there on the ground for us, just so you know, we have lost connection. So, guys, see what can be done so we can be reconnected and hear the conclusion of the leader of the opposition's speech out there at this town hall meeting in Queens, New York, in the heart of Queens, New York. We saw some of the PPP guys attempted, to cause confusion, but it couldn't happen. It just didn't happen. It couldn't. Their bluff didn't work, mind you. Their bluff just didn't work. So for those guys on the ground, just so you know, we're not hearing you guys at all. If we can have the matter corrected so that we can get back there live inside that town hall meeting with Aubrey Norton, the leader of the opposition. We'll take a quick break and be right back because I'm not seeing them back on screen. So let's take a quick break and we'll return.
Hello, this is attorney Shellen Washington, owner and founder of the Washington Law Firm located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We're specialized in medical malpractice, personal injuries, matrimonial law, and landlord and tenant. If you're in need of legal representation, please give us a call today. The number to call is 718-877-3100. Consultation is free at no cost to you. So call us today to see if we can be of any assistance to your legal needs. Again, the phone number to call us is 718-877-3100.
So we're back. Still not getting any audio. Not sure what's happening there, guys, but if we can get some audio. We're not hearing the speaker We just don't know what's happening. But, like everything else, we do have lots and lots of patience. And so those guys on the ground will ensure that we get a proper connection there at the town hall meeting with the leader of the opposition, Aubrey Compton Norton. All right. So we'll just await and see what is next. But so do share the link, guys.
Roads and bridges by themselves will not constitute development. Many of you go to there, and I was saying to them when they were doing the road coming into Sheriff Street, it would not solve the problem coming from the East Bank. All it will do is throw some of the traffic onto Sheriff Street and make Sheriff Street congested. Now you have two problems to deal with. If you're on Sheriff Street, you got congestion. If you're on the East Bank, you're still in congestion. And why did all of that occur? It all occurred because of the lack of foresight. You put endless houses at Diamond Grove, and each one of them you put one entrance, one exit. So much so for common sense. You look at any of the schemes before those, and you will see that there were multiple exits so that people can get out. In large measure, I'm saying the infrastructure programs generate problems. And now you're doing alternative roads as if you were solving the problem, when in the first place, you created the problem. What we need is a proper assessment of our infrastructure needs, and then develop a structure program, which must include, I believe, interregional highways. We link Linden going right through to Lethem, the Currentine, all of them. We link these regions. In linking these regions, you will own lands for development. If we continue on the strip we are talking about, we're not looking at development, we're looking at increased congestion. I don't want to bore this afternoon with all the details, but I want to say to you, infrastructure in Ghana seems focused on promoting corruption rather than development of the people. Just invited to Providence area, and roads that were recently built are already on their way. It means the contractors that are linked to the government will get paid again to do the same work. We do not have
Again, do bear with us. We're trying our best to ensure that we bring you the live coverage here. Queens, in the heart of Queens, Richmond Hill, Queens. Oh, yeah. It's made to understand that the so-called protesters, they just disappeared. They disappeared. We're going to try to go outside and find out what's going on. Janelle, how are you doing?
Hi, Mark.
Yep.
I'm great. I'm great.
What's happening outside now?
Well, they've disappeared.
No.
They've disappeared.
What, Chanel, before we go back inside, what really were they protesting about? What was the protest about, really?
I was seeing placards talking about housing and that we're fraudsters, and we're not welcome in Queens. And I don't know what housing has to do with the opposition leader. I don't even know why they're protesting the opposition leader. That's the first thing. I'm kind of confused. But I don't know. They disappeared. I don't know. I thought they would have been here all night and waiting until he came out. But he comes out, but they're gone.
They disappear.
They disappear, Mark.
Isn't it?
It's empty. Mark, they're gone.
Isn't it ironic that people? Yeah, 1 second. That people fought for them to be in Queens. They're fighting out to chase people out of Queens.
Yes.
Is anyone next to you there? Who else next to you? Let me talk to Keith for a second, please.
Keith. Oh, Keith.
Yes, sir.
Isn't it ironic that these guys are chasing people out of Queens? What's wrong with them?
Yes. Yes.
How do you feel about that?
Look, OC, your friend here.
Yeah.
Okay, now, Mark.
Isn't it ironic? What are you guys protesting about?
Yeah,
Also?
you're turning up the phone now.
What are you guys protesting about? Now, what are you guys protesting about? What's the protest about?
I can't hear. Mark, listen, you can message me and we can have this
What
conversation
is
anytime you do.
what is the protest about?
Turn up the phone.
What is the protest
Can't
about?
hear you. What is the protest about?
We protesting PNC's racism. They're trying to seek to divide our people.
But what does housing have to do with anything?
What do you mean?
Housing. You didn't see the placards they
Yeah,
had there?
we're pointing out some of the development that's going on. The housing distribution is equally, the housing house lots are equally distributed.
Did you read the placard properly?
I ain't got time for read all the placards. People don't bring the placard. I got time for read all of them.
Okay.
The people wrote their placards and they brought
Well, I understand why you wouldn't read it.
Why?
It's not like you.
Mark.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I was speaking to OC across the street. OC did not brush his teeth today. I promise you that. This guy did not brush his teeth.
I always try to do personalities, but
he did not brush his teeth today, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that they're finally done. They've made their points to God in heaven knows who or where. Can we hear what's going on inside now, though? Can we hear what's going on inside, which is far more important now? Yeah. Thank you, Keith.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, brother.
Can we hear what's going on now inside Miss Smith Daniels? Thank you.
Yeah, Mark. So you can go back to the live inside. It's a
No,
great meeting. Well, they have their about 4 persons, known PPP activists in there, and I'm happy that they're there so that the message can go, reach further than just this room.
And they're going
so
live.
they're live too. So I'm happy about it because we always talk about inclusivity, and we have shown for 5 years we were in government that we didn't just talk. We showed them that we were about inclusivity. So I'm happy that they're in there and they can send the message over so that we can have them to come, because we'll welcome them. We'll welcome them with open arms, Mark. So I'm just putting it out there that come on board. We will welcome you with open arms.
Yeah,
because we believe in one people, one nation, one destiny.
Chanel, isn't it ironic that these guys are talking about racism? What racism are they talking about?
I don't think they know what racism they're talking about. They were given a placard, Mark, and they were told to come outside. That was it. They were given a placard and told to just come outside. And like good submissives, they came. So, we can't expect better from them. But I'm happy that there are a few in there so our message can go across. Because we have lots of plans. And like I said, we didn't talk inclusivity. We showed them we were an inclusive government. Because what we did, everyone benefited. Not one Guyana, not one people, not one set of people, Mark.
Absolutely. The young lady at the back of you, can I ask a quick comment? How are you doing? And how you feel about the protest? They're embarrassed, actually. She's gone. She just wanted to see the camera, and that's it. Jason, what's going on? How do you feel? They were 1 second.
Bum fly, little stooge, Barajatio stooge, came out here with his bugle, of course, with a tip full of feces in it, airing his mouth. But of course, I had to caution him to let him know and let the New York Police Department know that, hey, here is where we have a stooge serving an installed government, PPP, out here protesting the opposition who want to do good for the people of Guyana. So that was just foolish. So it was just to get rid of him. But I'm going inside now to deal with those trolls that are inside with placards and so on.
All right, well, I think so far.
Oh, sorry, no placards, no placards.
Yeah, thank you. I know your blood is boiling up. It's okay. We were listening to the message by the leader of the opposition. Their inside is pretty calm, pretty peaceful. If they try anything in there, I'm almost certain they will be arrested.
No, but I'm here.
Yeah.
I am here, Mark. So I don't think they will try anything. I'm here.
Oh, okay.
What they forget is that I had to remind them that this is a miracle. This is not Guyana when two persons gather with a placard, the police come and lock you up. This is not Guyana. I had to remind them.
Absolutely, and I'm glad that you were able to remind them. Chanel, can we take the camera inside to hear what the message is by the leader of the opposition, please? Thank
Sure.
you.
Just give me a minute, please.
Yeah, sure. Chanel Daniel is here, mind you. So he's heading back into the place so we can hear the message. We're done with outside, guys. We're done with outside.
The first thing is, why don't you shake the hands of the president? I mean, you're a national leader. You're not like this and that person. You're not only the leader of Africa, you're the leader of the country. One of the main leaders. I mean, shake the man's hand and let's get on with this thing. Secondly, what are you doing right now? Not when you would have won the next election. What are you doing right now to foster unity in the country day by day? That's what we want to know. And finally, did the PPP win the 2020 election? If no, because you said they were installed, and so a lot of people thought it an installed government. If they are installed, then how come, sir, you are the legitimate leader of the opposition, enjoying all the perks and benefits of that office, according to the Constitution? Thank you.
Okay. First of all, I want to deal with the PPP called for the recount. The PPP called for the recount. We agreed on this recount. In this recount, we agreed that we will open the boxes. Wherever there are discrepancies, you will have a valuation report. And once we did all of that, we were going to then look at the measures to ensure only the credible votes count. You would recall that when they opened the boxes, 41 of them had no documentation, just votes, which is illegal. The chairman of the election commission then said we wouldn't count them, and then she returned to say we will count them. So they come forward with votes. The second thing, the recount revealed what happened across Guyana. And what happened across Guyana suggested that in many PPP strongholds, there were illegalities. The logical sequel of that is that they should have gone to the valuation reports, and they didn't. There was pressure from the United States. And what in essence happened, they abandoned the recount and just declared it. It is in that context, I say, without fear of successful contradiction, that based on what emanated from the recount, they are installed. Second, if they are installed, why am I legitimate opposition? To the extent that they are government, the Constitution provides for an opposition. And having provided for an opposition, you declared, the law says when you declare the election results once the chairman declare it, that's it. It doesn't mean that there wasn't illegality. There were. But keeping with the law, the chairman announced it. We went back. I was in the opposition leader at the time. We went. Mr. Harman became opposition leader. And the Constitution devolved on him the responsibility. You can argue that politically he should not have gone in. But when we did the assessment, we know the PPP. If you leave them without opposition, with opposition they will run back, much less without. And so a conscious decision was taken that we will go to the parliament and contest it at the level of an election petition, which we have been doing. Now, there's one other question. Answer two. Oh. For me, shaking hand is symbolic. And I have no problem shaking anyone's hand if I'm satisfied that you are treating my people with the respect.
Correct. Positive. Positive.
You are doing, and then tell me, shake hands. And I said this to you. Shaking hands is not a problem. But if you follow the PPP PR machinery, they go around shaking and holding up Afro-Ghanaians to portray that they are treating Afro-Ghanaians properly. The statistics will show differently. That in terms of allocation of those stuff, in terms of contracts in Linden Region 10, which is predominantly an Afro-Guyanese community, more than 80% of the contracts go to people from outside of India. What am I shaking out to say congratulations for discriminating against a group of people? If today or tomorrow, may I tell you, we met at the church service and we shook hands, but it didn't suit them, the propaganda to put it out. Because at the time, I thought that it wouldn't be the best thing in this church service not to. But you see, that wouldn't achieve the political. But generally, I would say, I see a shake hand as an indication that there is some kind of cordiality. And if I'm going to be cordial, I expect you to reciprocate. But you cannot do and say the things you are doing and saying and expect that I will be reciprocal. One of the things I learned very early is that politics sometimes is greased by hypocrisy. But I don't have the grease. So I said this. On the one hand, people say to you, oh, you have to expose youth. And when you expose youth, they say you need experience. Consciously, I've asked young Orias to come. Because one, I think he's an emerging leader. Two, we have a good relationship. And the third thing I would say, a lot of the leaders who are mature could come and do it. But when it comes to young leaders, we have to mentor them, be with them. And in this regard, I took a conscious decision the best young person to do.
By the way, I was told to announce that this is the.
All right, we lost them there, and we just want to be able to regain that connection on the ground in the audience. I'm glad, and one of the reasons why we've carried it here live on 107.1 FM, we wanted to ensure that we show the characters who were outside, and they couldn't hold it up. They had to go. All around, we're seeing that they're losing. All around, they're losing inside. They have lost outside. They couldn't get away with their propaganda outside. I don't know what racism they're talking about. We see evidence of racism every single day in Guyana. And the leader of the opposition, Aubrey Norton, just responded to a question from a PPP supporter in there about the shaking of hands or the lack thereof, the reason why he couldn't shake Jack Deer's hands, so forth and so forth. And so on the question of racism and the awarding of contracts and all these different things, this is what's happening. Just 2 days ago, a contract for, what is it, $85 million to a company that a friend of the PPP regime. Again, all their friends and cronies are getting these contracts. And 95 or 98% of those individuals are from one ethnic group. But yet people must shut up. People must not say what is happening in the country. And then when you do expose them, they try to flip the script around and say, well, hey, the opposition is racist. What is the opposition racist about? Exposing these daily discriminations in Guyana? Well, look at this here. discrimination again. All across the country you look, you will see evidence, glaring evidence of racial discrimination and political discrimination all across the country. Let's try to get back in touch with them.
And again in 2010, I engaged Mr. Corbyn, Mr. Robert Corbyn in conversation. And I delivered a simple message. You have to multi-racialize your party. Your party is perceived as an Afro-ethnic party, and you have to change that, or else we can't heal the problems of this country. So our politics, there's a very serious problem there. But I'll leave that question now and go to, I want to give you a simple math. How bad our oil contract is and how Exxon's literally ripping off this country. On 11 billion barrels of oil times 4.25%, that's the difference between what Suriname is getting and what we are getting. Suriname is getting 2%, Guyana is getting 6.25%. Guyana is getting 2%, Suriname is getting 6.25%. 11 billion barrels of oil times 4.25% times average price $75 a barrel comes out to $35 billion. That's about 4 times or 5 times our annual budget. Can we afford to lose that amount of money? So why is it that we can't demand Exxon come back to the table to renegotiate a very, very lopsided contract? So, Mr. Norton, please address that question. And I heard you visited Exxon headquarters and had talks with the executives. Would you tell us what happened in that meeting? Have you guys made any secret agreement? Thank you.
I sat where you ended. It is not true that I visited Exxon headquarters, but it has been said so regularly that people come to accept it as true. I've never visited Exxon headquarters.
Can you let me use the microphone?
I'm using the mic. Yeah, I was saying to you, it is not true that I visited Exxon headquarters, but it is repeated so many times, some people believe it is true. But I'm saying to you again, without fear of contradiction, I have never, in my capacity as leader or as a person, visited Exxon headquarters.
Could you just turn on your phones, please?
First, I want to say that here. I met Exxon leadership once in my office in Georgia. And we had very general discussion in terms of where Exxon is going, etc. Just before I left Guyana, Exxon asked for a meeting with me, and I've consented to meet them when I return. And that is true about Exxon. Now, the tendency is for everyone to try to get you to say you are going to renegotiate the contract. I want to make this clear. When I became leader of the party, and even before when I was executive director in the leader of the opposition office, we heard this regular mantra of renegotiation. At the time, it was coming over as if we want to break the contract and just start a new one. I pointed out that the contract itself has a mechanism for the government of Guyana and Exxon to engage to change the contract. And I did say at one of my press conferences, 5 months into government, we will address it. And before that, I am prepared to raise the issues of concern. But there are some people who believe that you must use the language they use. Renegotiate. And then when that is misinterpreted to mean you intend to break the contract, you find yourself in a different position. I want to say here and now, I believe the contract was created with a mechanism for us to make changes to it, engage Exxon, and improve what we get. But you know, one of the problems I have, we're talking about improving what we get, and I agree we should improve what we get. But if we don't cut out the 25% corruption, the people will benefit from it. And I'm well prepared to engage and well prepared to make changes, but the people of Guyana must benefit from it. And that is one of my concerns. And may I point out to you, the 45 billion you're talking about is less than the 200 billion that we lose through corruption. Now, I do believe we should get every cent that we should get. Look, Exxon has its interest. Our interest is the people of Guyana. We have got to engage Exxon to get the best for our people. And I'm prepared to do that. But I'm not prepared to come over as somebody who is acting in a wild fashion that will affect investments coming to Ghana. It has to be done in a way that investments feel comfortable in Ghana, but the investors must know that we, the government, the people, are looking after our interests, and I'm prepared to do that. And mind you, if the PPP went into power saying they will renegotiate the contract, okay? Barry Jack goes on record as saying it was a criminal deal, that it violates the law. You don't have to be a lawyer to know that if a contract violates the law, that contract is null and void, and therefore the government, if they want, can change it. So they are either not speaking the truth or politically gaffing. Whichever one, it's an unfortunate conclusion for them. So I think you said not paying us a fair value. I will always say this to you. As somebody who's been involved in negotiation, if I am dealing with workers, I will never accept that there is a fair value. I will always campaign and bargain for more. The same is true with Exxon. We have to be prepared to bargain and to get more for our people. Our whole focus must be on people. You said Exxon is playing Indo against Afro. I haven't seen the evidence. I think the problems we have very little to do with Exxon. It has more to do with visionless leadership, corrupt leadership. And if we can get out of the corruption, if we could get out of this visionlessness, in the last parliament that we had, in debating the petroleum activities bill, I said to the government, this is a bill that will determine the future of us. Let us sit, put a special select committee together, and ensure we have a bill that when it becomes law, allows us to achieve what we wanted to achieve. There were a number of things absent from the bill. No petroleum commission among them. The over-politicization of it. The government led by Barra Jack Dale said they wouldn't and proceeded to pass the bill in a lopsided way, and therefore they have prepared conditions propitious to what Exxon, you're contending Exxon will do. Has Exxon taken over our country? It's a very complex question. Economically, they are fastly becoming the major actor in man. And if one accepts that economics tend to determine politics and social, then you might very well be true. But then, if you accept that in the political realm, the state has the political power to act, to ensure they don't do that, if that happens, it's because the state isn't acting how it should. And then in the other realm is the social realm, where Exxon has social responsibilities. But we need to work out clearly what are these social responsibilities, how they are going to implement it, and then engage Exxon to ensure that they honor their social responsibility without dominating and control in our society. Let us live in the real world. In the real world, oil and oil money are powerful. It is our task now to organize ourselves, analyze the situation, and take the measures we need to take to ensure we can attenuate the power and allow us to survive sensibly and gain from the contract in a way that helps us to promote our independence. But even with Exxon being as powerful as it is, if we do not diversify the economy, if we do not ensure that there are other sectors that are competing, then we ourselves will be giving control to Exxon. And I submit to you, I am seeing no plans to develop the non-oil sector to ensure that we remove the vulnerabilities that exist. And so my answer to your question will be, no one will gainsay the fact that Exxon wields untold power. But if we use our political power and social responsibility in the right context and with the right approaches and the right strategies, we can attenuate it.
You have a question, sir?
Yes. Okay. I'd like to shake your hand first with that. No problem.
Remember, I don't see you as repressing.
You don't even look that depressed. Master, chairman of the occasion here to function, leader of the opposition, other heads of the table here. First, I'd like to say a hearty welcome to Little Guyana. As a concerned Guyanese in the United States, there are many concerns that brings my attention to. We're looking for progress, we're looking for development. And I still have some great ideas to make Guyana a better place. Based on the nature of election, pre and post activities, what will you do if you should be a winner or a loser of the party? How you will able to curb the nature of certain activities, let's say criminal activities, that are very detrimental towards unity and development. And there are certain questions pertaining to corruption, where your party and members of the opposition are accusing the present administration of corruption. You may be right, you may be wrong, but are there credible evidence to show your claims of corruption? So some of you folks, please be sorry. I'm here with the, yeah. With all due respect, with that being said, I'd like you, as the leader of the opposition, to create an atmosphere, both home and abroad, to build the confidence among fellow Guyanese of all ethnic background, to enhance unity. Because racism is not in my game. My wife is black, my son and I are mixed. I'm from Essex Coast. I grew up in a village of predominantly Negro brothers and sisters. I due that respect to them. I want to continue. I will not let politics or religion destroy my relationship with my fellow brothers and sisters of different backgrounds. I believe in unity, in diversity. And you have my support in some way along the line if there are positive images and programs we are put in place for a better and much more accountable Guyana progress and development. With that being said, I'd like to say in my culture, Namaste, Sitaram, blessings and greetings to each and every one. Mr. Norton, nice meeting you. I think I met you a couple of years back in Guyana visiting General.
Let me start with elections. Thanks for your great questions. Let me start with elections. We have pointed out that Guyana has a population of 750,000 people. And we have an electoral list of 682,000 people. And we claim, this is the government claims, that they give 250,000 children cash grants. If you have 250,000 children and you have a population of 750,000, then you can't have a voters list that is over 500,000. That seems simple mathematics, logic, call it what you want. First. The second thing is we have said publicly on many occasions, give us biometrics and a clean voters list. If you are not afraid, then why can't you as a government give us biometrics so that when you go and put your thumb, it is recorded and you can't vote twice because biometrics will skin you up to use guidance parliaments. But the government refuses to give biometrics. They are mad. Soon you mentioned the word biometrics. We said a clean voters list. I would say this to you. Once there's a clean voters list, once there's biometrics, the outcome of the elections in Ghana will be accepted by all. The problem is the lack of credibility in the election process. And it has gotten worse under Claudette Singh. Previously, you might not have liked the previous Steve Surajbali. But Steve Surajbali allowed the two sides to solve the problems. And then she votes on every occasion with the People's Progressive Party, almost axiomatically, making it very, very clear that she is not independent when an elections commission should be independent. And so it also has to do with the elections commission being independent and operating as such. Once those elements are put in place, then you talk about building a multi-ethnic party. We agree. I have no problem with it. But let me tell you some of my experiences. An Indo-Guyanese businessman will come, and this happened last week, and say, look, I want to give you this donation for the party. But don't call me name. These people vindictive. They will destroy me. And even in the political realm, many of the people who serve the PNC and stay in the PNC have got to face the brunt of PPP nastiness when it comes to Indo-Guyanese who decide they will support the PNC. Our MPs will tell you that PPP MPs go up to them and ask them, what are you doing in the Black Man Party? Which is not right. I'm saying that is what they say. So we are disposed to build a multi-ethnic party. If you look at the local government elections, you know all the noise they're making that about the local government, I want you to look in PPP strongholds and you will see there was an increase in votes in the Indo-Guyanese community. They won't mention that because to mention that will suggest something different. I'm of the view that yes, we still have those that are deep into ethnicity, but there is emerging a group of young people and other people who want to transcend the ethnic barrier. Like you, I can tell you, half of my family is Indian. And I don't advertise it to say that makes you non-racist. I'm merely saying that a lot of the families are mixed. And I always say to people, one of the problems we have is the minute you defend the Afro-Guyanese interests, people describe you as racist, which is unfortunate. I have said before, I will defend Afro-Guyanese interests. I will defend all interests, indigenous people, because the indigenous people are extremely poor and not benefiting in the way they should. But if the minute you defend a position, you tell me, let's go to Mocha. You're building a highway along the East Bank. Along this highway, you have Indo-Guyanese businesses that you permit. They are much closer to the road than the people in Mocha. But when you arrive in Mocha, you decide they have to move. And when they move, you bulldoze them. You do them as you like. Now, I have to defend that Afro-Guyanese community because it is very clear. And I'm not telling you theory. Each and every one of you, when you go to Guyana, drive and see up that highway where these people were. They were over a trench. There are people closer without a trench. And then you remove them in the most brutal way, and then you decide that to defend them is to be racial. Why didn't they say, I am racial when I went to Jetty? At Jetty, they are seeking to move the people. Nobody's saying no to development. We're saying private businesses can't just move in and tell our people they have to move. The meeting I had all three ethnic groups in large numbers. Now, me representing them, it's racist. I'm performing the function of an opposition leader to represent the people who need representation against the government of Guyana. And so I do not buy the theory of racism. Racism has a clear meaning. When you are racist, one, you see your race as superior. Two, you seek to dominate other races. I do not believe I can be accused of that at any level. I've always said I taught at the University of Guyana, all ethnic groups. And I dare anyone to bring a student of any ethnic group who can say they were dealt with unfairly. Because when I went to the class, I outlined the criteria. I always said you go in the class in F. When you got the basics, you move to D. The basics with little research, you move to C. When there is the basic research and you start to do analysis, you go on to B. And when there is all and complete analysis, you get an E. And I used to say to the students, if you see somebody with a B and you got a C and you think you did better than them, bring the person and let us review it. Openness helps. And that is why I told a group in Barbados, one of the things I will do as leader and in government is to create ministry ombudsman, where when people feel that they're discriminated against because of their ethnicity, they can go to an ombudsman right there to have the case investigated and the decisions rectified. So I believe in promoting unity, but it is not very easy dealing with the People's Progressive Party in its stronghold. And a lot of times, the Indo-Guyanese community are not allowed to exercise their free will. And so you will have a lot of support or some amount of support, but it will never manifest itself until elections because people live in fear. And I just want to invite you, if you want, just take one of your family and ask them to play opposition in the community for 2 months and then let it give you the results. But nobody must know they're playing opposition. You must just say to them, oppose them, do X, Y, and Z, and you'll see the results. We must not treat Guyana as a democratic society. Guyana is an authoritarian society in which the People's Progressive Party believes it has the right to dominate everybody's life, political, economically, and social. And when they can't do that, they become very vicious. I hope I've answered all of your questions.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Before you go on, a campaign does not run on only words. A campaign is expensive, and therefore I'm going to ask Ms. Diane to just go around and see if we can get donations to the party.
I would prefer us not to do that. I want us to have an exchange. I prefer us not to do that. So
well, of course.
If we come for a fundraiser, I think we come for a fundraiser.
Respect to you, sir.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. All right, questions. Bob.
Just told you don't love in the army. Oh, I have to face the lawyers. Make your choice. Mr. Norton, I must congratulate you on that last position you took. We are not here for a fundraiser because we may have to bring in the public.
Let's leave that in mind.
It's right on.
Bring it
closer to you.
Bring it closer. Bring it closer. Don't raise it for you scoop down.
Hold it in your hand. There's a disadvantage in being tall, but I was an opening bowler, so. All right, let's get to these questions here. Well, Ms. Norton, you face a very difficult task being leader of the opposition because not only do you have to contend with 33 members of the PPP, but you have to contend with the 34th member of the PPP, the Speaker of the House. Wow. I have written extensively about the role of the opposition. My name is Leland Ryan, and for those who read newspapers, I write almost every other day in Action News and Starbuck News. So I'd like to ask a few questions which are very pertinent. But before doing that, I'd like to say that I have opposed the PNC and I've been called racist. I've opposed the PPP and I've been called traitor. So I don't know if I should join the URP. And Ghana seems to be a country where you legally elect a dictator, because for a one-seat majority, you seem to be jumping right into the scenario where, from barely within the election, you've become the tyrant of the majority. So why is it that the opposition has not seen it wise to question the expenditures of the president on his various overseas trips? Recently, he came back from China, having taken 30 persons here. Then went down to the Dominican Republic, where he took about 40 persons and discussed an oil refinery. Notwithstanding the fact that Trinidad and Suriname, sister CARICOM countries, are very well versed in oil refineries and oil production, whereas, relatively speaking, the Dominican Republic is a no-brainer where oil is concerned, right? Well, I mean, I don't want to put back to it was a no-brainer, but yeah, sure. But in regards to the gas and fuel project, why has such a bill not been tabled in Parliament so that we can analyze Ghana's most expensive expenditure ever in its 57 years of independence? Close to $2 billion, this the US dollars, is the projected expense of the gas to shore project, and that has never been analyzed or debated in Parliament. There's real need for the opposition to bring that to Parliament. We could go on to say that in regard to the Public Accounts Committee, where we question the expenditures of subventions given to various ministries, there are greater monies that are being spent in that country that really need to be analyzed. We have the Skeleton factory, the Amelia Falls factory, the Surrender Hospital, specialty as well. Those are quadruple times the amount of money that the subventions given to the ministries, especially the ministry headed by the great Bartlett Bishop, Mr. Achille. Now, it is hard to understand how these matters have never been debated in Parliament, or if I may give you some credit, the Speaker of the House has not seen it fit to debate these things. And the Public Accounts Committee should also focus on some of the past expenditures that have really gone on the drain and nothing has been done, like the fiber optic cable, which the President's son, President Ramaphosa's son, was given some $80 million to bring. And right there, you can't get a proper WhatsApp call in Ghana.
I don't have any more questions because I don't want to take up much of your time. Well, Mr. Norton, it's always a pleasure. I had spoken to you before when you were with Mr. White right here in New York, and I've seen you so many years after. I mean, you had here that time, but
I must admit to you that I did have it. But I will also say to you, the lack of hearing is not a function of my being. It's one of age. And I think you should say thanks for your blessings. You were called a racist traitor. I find that fascinating. What I can guarantee you is that if you oppose a government led by me, you will not be called traitor nor racist. I do believe that people have a right to challenge things. People have a right to get to the bottom of everything. Unfortunately, that's not the culture in our country. I agree with you. You said there's a legal dictatorship, but Jamadar, the Trinidadian political scientist and lawyer, called it a cabinet dictatorship, saying you have elections, etc. But outside of elections, there is no involvement of the people. And in that regard, this present government qualifies to be called a cabinet dictatorship. And I wish it was totally cabinet because it's appearing now as if it's a one-man dictatorship. Because the cabinet seems to have no say when the omnipotent and omniscient commence. Why is no bill on the gas to show? There are many proposed bills in the parliament that wouldn't see the light of day. The speaker just doesn't bring them. I hear you. I can say to you, I will engage my colleagues to look at a possible bill, but I don't want to suggest to you that it will be heard. I know of bills that were placed there from the opposition and they don't see light. I mean, we just had the classic where these children were killed in a fire. We brought the matter as a matter of urgency to the parliament. The speaker said this is urgent and refused to have the motion debated. And then when we bring another motion later, he said the thing occurred 2 months ago, it can't be urgent. Now, one of the problems our society has is that it's a small society, and there's a lot of times it's difficult to find people who are independent. I was talking with a particular Indo-Guyanese person who was once identified to be chairman of the Elections Commission. And he said to me, Aubrey, I'm happy that I didn't get it. Because if I'm independent, they can kill me. If I'm independent, they can kill me. So I thought I should say that. I do not know that you can now bring before the Public Accounts Committee the skeleton factory, the fiber optic cable, and more. As I understand it, those you do it year by year. And one of the reasons the PPP is stalling is that we are finished up to 2020. And so you're coming out to 2021 when they're in government and they're doing everything to ensure that there is no scrutiny of what they are doing. And so I can have people explore the possibility of looking at those. But it is well established, and that is why I say to people everywhere I go, Dr. Jamin could show you something that he has as a success. Whether you like Burnham or not, he got something he could show you as a success. Desmond Hyde got something he could show you as a success. Bridget short period. My friend Barrett got fiber optic cable, Skeleton Sugar Factory, and more. He spent a lot of money and delivered nothing. One of the few things you can possibly say he delivered is the Borbice River Bridge. And people could hardly cross it, it's so expensive. And it is not a bridge that is serving the people of Ghana. It is a bridge structured in a way that, again, only the elite making money off of it. So I agree we need to look at them, but I don't know we can go back and look at them. I hope I've covered all of your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Okay, we have a question. We have a gentleman here who's been patiently waiting with his question. Please go ahead, sir.
Welcome, Mr. Norton, to Little Guyana, Richmond Hill, Queens, New York. My name is Roy Armstrong from the RSR TV and ITV Gold. I have a few short questions. The first one, can you tell me, you were in power at that time, why the APNUFC did not disclose that $20 million and were forced to disclose that sum of money? The second question, you said 90,000 people get up and vote on that morning on election March 2nd, 2020. And also you said that the election was completely rigged by the PPP Civic. Also, when you become the opposition leader, we start seeing that you start losing the executive membership. And why there's so many people are going across the aisle to the PPP Civic in this last local government elections. If you can just explain those two questions.
Okay. Thanks for the opportunity. I think you know why. The PPP spent $11 billion. A lot of it went to bribing people to join them.
Correct.
And I can bring you endless people who could tell you how much money they got. To the point where we made it an election campaign strategy to say, take the money but vote for me. And there were people who were on their list that said, you don't worry with her, in Georgetown, we telling the people for vote for you. So one of the realities is that they have money at their disposal. And the vice president is not somebody who is modest. He's going to splurge it and spend it. They had a function at Ocean View. And I went into areas and tell the people, go collect it. You know, it was 250,000 grand for a poor man. And so they went, they collected it, but the results showing East Shrine, but obviously they didn't vote for them. And so it is easily explained by the fact that there was a lot of bribery in the last election. There's another element. Many of them were told that to get a contract, they must fill up a party membership form. I know of two particular persons. One of the communities is so small, if I tell you the community, they don't know it's you. But he called me and said, Chief, you know, I ended up on the PPP list, but you don't worry, but I got to get my contracts going. So if you're there on the list, you can't get a contract. That's the reality that our people live with. And so many people opted in that direction. But the question is, they did not win Georgetown. They did not win Linden. They did not win New Amsterdam. There was a tie in Bartico. There was a tie in Madrid. But they go on like if they win all of them. The PPP believes, tell a lie, repeat it 1,000 times, and the lie becomes truth. Unfortunately, it isn't true. I don't know of any executive member we would have lost under my leadership. All the executive members that were there at the election are still there. If you're talking about executive members who disagree and might say something that isn't in keeping with the policy position, we have always been a Democratic Party. We have always allowed our membership to speak. Unlike the PPP, in the last local government election, you wouldn't believe that it was 80 local government authorities. The people who were councillors that were supposed to represent the people couldn't speak. Unlike us, where the people who were campaigning to be councillors, if you follow it, you will see they were allowed to speak. Unless we recognize that the PNC has had a far more democratic culture than the PPP. The PPP, everybody toes the line. If you don't toe the line, you know what happens. So much so fair. I can't say anything about 90,000 people voted. You said I said 90,000 people voted, but I don't know what that was related to. Now the $80 million bonus. People keep saying it was hidden. As far as I know, it was placed in account. One, as far as I know, this money was taken to fight the Guyana-Venezuela territorial controversy at the International Court of Justice. And if the PPP was dishonest and disingenuous, they would have said to the world that when we arrive in government, the 80 million bonus was there. But what they tried to do is to suggest that there was some form of corruption. There was no form of corruption. The bonus was taken to ensure we prepare for the case, we pay the lawyers, do everything, and I think every Guyanese should be glad because the court ruled in our favor that they had jurisdiction based on the arguments we would have put forward. And I do believe that signing bonus was taken properly and utilized for a purpose that transcends partisan politics. Thank you.
All right, other questions?
Right.
Lady back there. You'll be.
I have a question.
Yeah, you go.
Okay. Last evening I was on a Zoom meeting and I was informed that Food for the Poor would be leaving Guyana in the near future because Guyana now is a wealthy nation and there would be no need to substitute for the low-income families. The young man, he brought up the subject about why is Dominica building a refinery in Guyana and only 51% of Guyana wealth.
Okay, first of all, Food for the Poor leave in Guyana. I didn't hear the news, but I do know that they have a tendency to great countries. And if you move out of the low income, then there's every possibility that Food for the Poor will move. Unfortunately, that doesn't reflect the reality of Ghana. You have an increased poor people. But one of the things about aggregated data is that it tells the story of the country. It doesn't break down to tell you what is happening in the population. And since that is likely to be based on aggregated data, we're the fastest growing economy in the world, and so it's time to go. Let me go where the economy is growing. Unfortunate, but true. Oil refining. First of all, I do believe we should be looking at an oil refinery. But there should be proper feasibility studies. Two, there should be engagement with countries that have a history of oil, etc. And I do not think that a president should leave a country, go to another country and come back and say you signed some agreement. I served long in the foreign ministry, and I have an idea of how a public service should work. But this government pays no attention to public service. The president and vice president, they seem to be gone. What should happen is this. The technical teams from the ministries should be engaging technical teams in the country. And you work out the technical details. Once you work out the technical details, you get involved in feasibility, it is then put before the government. And then the government will assess it and make a decision. It does appear to me that the president has become the public service. And so you're not seeing a proper approach to projects. When I saw it, I was concerned as well that you left here, you gone to the Dominican Republic and you're telling us something about oil refinery. It doesn't make any sense, but it is the modus operandi of the government. And yeah.
So why is Dominica owning 51% of the Guyanese people would not benefit from that?
Well, it shouldn't be, and I know we will deal with it, but it is not the first time that the government did something like this. The Guyanese people should have owned the Burmese Bridge, but their friends and family own it. And so it's not the first time, but it's something we will have to address we need to see what is the agreement, etc. So I agree with you, they shouldn't own 51%.
Okay, this gentleman here. Very good patient.
Thank you again to Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Norton, for coming out to Richmond Hill tonight. It's not often, whether it's American politics or Guyanese politics, that you see a politician willing to go to potentially hostile terrain and take questions. So I think he deserves some comment. And I would add to that, when there were attempts to protest, I think he did handle it with a fair amount of grace. So the questions I'd ask tonight, and for those who don't know, my name is Rusette Mangafow. I'm a Republican Party nominee for City Council out here this year. Something that both the United States and Guyana currently deal with is that there was an election in 2020, and the party that, let's just put it, there's a party that left power after that election continues to have certain views on that election. And you came here tonight, you spoke, you gave your policy positions, and yes, there were people out there protesting you. I don't think that there's much that you said in terms of your policy positions when it comes to the issues that many would disagree with. You talked about basic issues. However, you can't even get to that point of the conversation because the dispute of the 2020 election so dominates the discussion. And that's something true both in the US and in Guyana. But I can say that as a Republican right here in New York. I could go out and say the best policy position ever. But there's some people who, as soon as they hear the word Republican, they will not talk to you, right? Because they will immediately start to think, oh, what did your party do after the last election? And with you as well. You may say the best policy position ever, but there are people out there who will say, well, what did your party do after the last election? And I want to know, how do you move past that? Is it at some point, do you need to just stop talking about the position that your party has on the 2020 election? Well, that is a discussion we have in the US as well. Does the Republican Party need to just stop talking about their position in the last election? Just say, we're focused on the future, not the past. Right? Is that something that you need to consider? I ask this out of fairness and curiosity, no antagonism. And a follow-up to that, as a result of what occurred in Guyana after the last election, you do have some groups, particularly the CGID based in Brooklyn, who has tried to, in my opinion, inject and infuse Guyanese politics and American politics in a way that, at times there is a bit of a racial tinge to it. You saw last year certain comments that New York Attorney General Fisher James made, certain comments made by Brooklyn Democrat Congress members like Hakeem Jeffries and Yvette Clark. And as somebody who your party wishes to come back to power in Guyana one day, how do you view the politicizing of Guyana-U.S. relations, where you have Democrats in Brooklyn or take one position, and you have your party's made comments about Mike Pompeo and try to make comments about Republicans as well? If the AFNU ever gets back in power in Guyana, you want to have relations with both parties, both Democrats and the Republicans. You don't want to have that politicized relation. So I wonder if you could comment on that aspect.
Any political party that understands the dynamics of world politics would want to have good relationships with both the Democrats and the Republicans. But that does not mean that we are naive to believe that sometimes it doesn't go down a partisan way. Before we talk about the Democrats, Republicans, and Guyana, there's one significant
Sorry for a moment there. I think we have lost connection. We're going to try to get to the bottom of it. This meeting in Queens has turned out to be rather informative, and especially since those so-called protesters had to be driven away. They were driven away. And so we are listening to the questions, very blunt, very straight up questions. And so I think that augurs well for a bright future for Guyana. Certainly not under this corrupt regime. And the fact that this meeting is being kept in the heart of Richmond Hill, something that the PPP guys didn't want to happen. It has happened, and I think this is a good move on the part of the organizers. And I'm not certain that over the past year and a half, maybe 2 years, that we have seen such a meeting, a very constructive engagement. Except the animals outside, there will always be those type of animals, goons. Nevertheless, what we're witnessing here right now, again in the heart of Queens. Queens doesn't belong to one set of people. It doesn't. And so the demonstration of that tonight is pretty obvious. Despite the PPP goons try to disrupt, didn't happen tonight, and it's never going to happen again. All right, so we lost connection there. I'm not sure.
I am prepared at any stage. So I have offered to debate parliamentarians. I've offered to.
You see what has happened is we have connections always. So we lose one, we get to another one, we get to another one. Don't you guys just love us? Sorry, I sound like Trump there for a moment, right? Speaking of Trump, that's what's happening. This was just taken, his mugshot. His mugshot just taken there, right off the bat, his mugshot. All right, so let's get back on the ground. We have Wayne Caesar there. Hopefully we'll get a video footage of Mr. Aubrey Norton and others in the audience.
And sometimes, when I was coming here, not one, not two, not three, virtually everybody who I spoke to asked me, why are you going into this terrain? It's hostile terrain. I felt it's a terrain with some misunderstandings. And if I come, I can help you understand. So I want to say to you, I'm thankful for your comment, but I don't see it as hostile terrain. I see it as a reflection of the evolution of Guyanese politics, extrapolated, transposed to the United States. And in the United States, the partisanship continues. And politically, they
All right. Again, we have lost connection. We're hoping to get back in touch with them there to find out. Yep, we have lost connection to that other side again. We do have some quite a few folks on the ground there, so being reconnected should not be a problem at all. So people have been asking, are we gonna have straight up this evening or not? Let me look into the audience there and find out what do you guys think. What exactly do you guys think? Don't I deserve some rest? I don't know. Don't I deserve some?
social media and others would have created. As it relates to the protests, I was comforted. And I was told that there were going to be protests. I said to myself, it wouldn't be bad if there wasn't protests. And since I believe people have the right to protest, and I have protested, I see no problem with protest once it is done in the confines of the law, once it is civilized. I have no problem with protest. I saw some of the protesters that I know. One who was running from justice. They don't talk about that, what he did to the woman. And they allow him to get out the country to come in front talking about who's racist. He was who should be charged. I won't call his name, that's it, like Ajay. Those people can work it out. Now, on the whole question of election, look, I think once we get people, once we get by elections, I think the process will be acceptable to all. Unless somebody decides that it will be, I am satisfied. Once we get a people, a lot of legalities, I don't know. But let's assume there are illegalities. If there are illegalities and you get people to listen about metrics, the illegalities will and the conditions be for all success. Thank you.
Thank you, Comrade Leader. The sequence of occurrences here. We're running out of time, and so I'm just wondering how many questions, more questions do you want? One or two?
How many questions do you bring? Sorry, Senator. As in relation, you just stop. As in relation to a factor that represents PNC or in Brooklyn that's creating a racial division among the fellow Guyanese who supposed to live harmoniously, despite of race or political affiliation. I'll call that referral. It is very detrimental towards racial harmony. Now, this might not say to be true. I wish this could occur, this attitude pertaining to racial harmony.
First of all, you make the assumption that Rickford is PNC and I have some jurisdiction over it.
I'm just saying.
No, I want to say this to you. I know Rickford. Rickford operates in a different organization. I don't know that he's a member of the PNC, but
he claims that.
I know he never claimed that. No offense, he never claimed that.
Hello, this is attorney Shellen Washington, owner and founder of the Washington Law Firm located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We're specialized in medical malpractice, personal injuries, matrimonial law, and landlord and tenant. If you're in need of legal representation, please give us a call today. The number to call is 718-877-3100. Consultation is free at no cost to you. So call us today to see if we can be of any assistance to your legal needs. Again, the phone number to call us is 718-877-3100.
For a societal problem. All of us have our weaknesses, all of us have our strengths. And I know Rickford is passionate about the things he defends. And sometimes when you're passionate, you can go over the line. But all of us tend to go over the line at some times. What we need to do is to collectively look at it and ensure we act as kind of, not moderators, but buffers, so that none of us goes over the line. Thank you.
Okay, let's get questions from people who did not ask questions before. Okay, gentleman over there. You'll be next, sir.
Yeah, not a problem.
Good night, everyone. Aubrey Norton, good night to you. Good table. I came like this. Who knows me? I don't dress like this. I don't want the attention on me. The press is removing the It's fine. However,
all right, we're not breaking away from this. I know the event was from 6 to 9. We are approaching that 9 o'clock, 10 minutes more to go. I think maybe the organizers there could start to bring the curtain down, because I think we got a lot of meat out of that, mind you. And we don't want to, as they say in Guyana, overdo the do. I think we done do, if you know what I mean. And so let us hope that the organizers will now move to wrap things up in just a couple minutes more. If you know what I mean. I think we've gotten a lot of flesh out of tonight's meeting.
to the Parliament. And can you just clarify or explain to them for the benefit of understanding, because they are looking for more of action. They believe that the opposition's parliament should be one that is in the streets. And some of them are aware that you are doing groundwork with their pleas, but again, their main concern in some of the little pockets of society that the opposition should not go to parliament, since the installed PDP regime
as corrupt, wicked, vindictive, devious, amongst others.
Good job, Jason.
I will start by saying this. Countries have history. And when history is going to be written, people are going to go to the parliamentary archives to know what happened. And if you do not go to parliament, you will have nothing in the hands, and the history could be one-sided based on newspapers. Firstly, I think we need to go there to record our positions. In the last parliament, we could have said all that the PPP said that they were now contradicting because of parliamentary records. So we need to put it in the parliamentary records. Secondly, as a government in Haiti, you need to be promoting superior policies and programs. If they bring a budget and you put yourself where you cannot respond to the budget, you might respond in the streets, etc. But if you do not respond in the parliament, again, the parliament doesn't have the benefit of your contribution. The government can't come and say the next time that we didn't give solutions because we gave them next solutions. And they go back to the answer and read it. That is not to say our struggle should be linked solely to parliament. Politics is parliament and extra parliamentary. There are a number of extra parliamentary things that we should do. Some people might ask, why is it that Norton doesn't take people to the streets? I'll answer you now. The People's Progressive Party finds itself in a corner where all Guyanese are recognizing what they are doing. And I think Jagyo and the PPP is pushing for us to go to the streets so that you end up with a conflict again between blacks and Indians. And then they will say, you see, in fact, my friend here virtually said criminal activity when he referred to protests. Protests must occur, but it must occur in a way that it allows you to achieve your long-term objective. And I do not believe that willy-nilly protests will allow us. We will protest, we will do it in a way that promotes the cause, but we will not allow the PPP to lead us into a protest in which it becomes an ethnic clash and they benefit from it. And so, to all the young people you're talking about, tell them they can help us by organizing in the community. They can help us by exposing the PPP. And when we call for protests in a structured way to achieve our objectives, they can come and participate. But we must never allow the PPP to push us in a direction. I want to remind you, Quinton Bacchus was killed by a policeman. Okay? There was a legal march coming down the road. And when it arrived at Monrepo, the very PPP paid people, at least 2 from Buxton, who went in there, attacked Indians, and then they started the whole mantra of an attack on Indians. And then they went in and they paid a set of money. We have got to be skillful and sensible. We will protest, but we will not give Jagyo and the PPP the opportunity to let it get down the line of ethnicity, and then they achieve their objective at the expense of us.
Thank you.
We kept the best question for last. If the gentleman will come up and ask your question.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Norton, just a question. I want to leave here with some hope tonight. And I appreciate the way you've expressed your thoughts and your political views. 2 questions that, well, it's not 2 questions. You referenced twice the biometrics as well as a clean list. And because of the politics that existed in Guyana for centuries, how can we get to a clean list or a clean biometric, so younger people can have hope in terms of the politics moving forward.
We continue at home to protest for clean voters. We, the diaspora, would help by engaging with congressmen, senators, etc., and pointing out to them that it is in the interest of democracy and stability that we get a clean voters list and biometrics. You can play a role. I am of the view that we will get it. It's going to be a struggle. We will get at least biometrics. But I believe that the next election will be a totally different ballgame. The local government election should signal to the People's Progressive Party that all is not well with them and bad. And so we will continue to struggle. We will do what we have to do. We will engage the international community and make them aware of what is happening, with the hope that with our struggles at home and their assistance in the international realm, we'll get a clean voters list and people can be reassured in Ghana that the next election will be free and fair and that there will be no need for rancor at the end of the process.
Thank you.
All right, it looks as though they're wrapping things up there at that town hall meeting in Queens, and that is going into the belly of the beast, so to speak. I think for the most part, it was very civil. That's the nature of a democracy, and the PPP goons didn't get their way. Those who were inside, they were very respectful, and I think I give them kudos for that. There were a few iffy questions, but that's the nature of things. But altogether, it was just a great town hall meeting this evening. I give it a pass, more than just a pass. Despite the PPP, like I've mentioned, the PPP goons attempted to try to spread their propaganda. It didn't work. It just didn't work. And right now, I know Jack Dave, they do not like it at all. They just do not like it at all. Let's see what else is happening here now.
1367 Avenue, Brooklyn, New York, 11203. Ticket $100, open bar. And it's titled Vision Fire. And Mr. Norton and the PNC do have a vision program. So please support. It is 7 to 12. 7 p.m. to 12 a.m.
As a short answer.
Well, you can extend it. Open bar. Okay? So thank you very much. I'll turn it back over to
Thank you very much. The tickets are on sale tonight with this lady over here. Right? Yes, you can get your tickets tonight.
You said one coming, but you can
And
imagine
thank you for all the questions. Thank you for coming out tonight. We really appreciate it. Before we leave.
All right. You've lost connection right there. What is it? We've been on for about almost 3 hours, right? Let's go to another.
The petition, have you forgotten about it? Because I'm not hearing you.
And my answer is petition 88 is still in the court. It is going through the process, and at some stage it will be there.
Now the question.
Can we also petition 88?
I heard Barra Jagdo saying that he's not giving the APNU what they want, which is a clean voters list. I don't know how you're going to get over that hurdle. Number two is, what are you doing about the current elections chairman? She is the one who worked together with Barra Jagdo and give the election to the PPP, even though the APNU won. Are you going to leave her there? Is there any action to have her removed and have a new chairman?
We continue every week to call for removal and to do what is required, and we continue to press for clean voters list and the removal of the chairman of the Elections Commission.
Final word?
My final word. I must say it is.
Excuse me, some silence, please.
I must say it has been a pleasure being here. I would also state that I'm always disposed to come in and meeting Guyanese wherever they are, including Little Guyana. I want to say to all and sundry that we in the APNU have Guyana's interests at heart. We are going to be robust in our opposition to the People's Progressive Party, but as a party, we are committed to our motto of one people, one nation, one destiny, and we will continue. Thank you for coming, and I wish to say that I am always disposed to come and meet with you. Thanks, folks.
Land of many waters with 6 races living together. Guyana, Guyana, land of many waters with 6 races living together. Essequibo, Berbice, and Demerara, the 3 counties that make her Guyana. Berbice, she gave us our great sons, Rohan Kanhai, Kofi and Dr. Jagan. Berbice, she gave us our great sons, Rohan Kanhai, Kofi and Dr. Jagan. Essequibo, well, with gold and diamond. Demerara, the city under PM Barnum.
Good evening, Mr. Benchoff. Good evening, sir. Mark, what's going on, brother?
All right, let's yeah, one second, please, guys. Let's head back on the ground here. Let's get Wayne. Let's get from that gentleman there. What's your take on tonight's town hall meeting, sir? What is your take on the town hall meeting tonight? What is his take on the town hall?
I want to know what's your thoughts on the town hall meeting tonight?
I'm very much impressed. You know, I always look at the leader as someone who's very articulate. His message always come across, you know, touching. He's very clear on what he wants for the country. And, you know, I appreciate him being here tonight. And I look forward to seeing him again on Saturday in Brooklyn.
Okay, so there was an attempt to drown this meeting out tonight with a few of the PPP goons outside. It didn't work. Are you surprised that it didn't work?
No, well, listen, they know that they can't come around us funny. You know, regardless of where we at, in their backyard or wherever it is. Whenever we're here, they have to show us respect.
Thank you, sir. Wayne, if you can just go around, let's get some more views from some other folks there.
Absolutely, Mark. I have here with me Mr. Colin
Colin.
Barnwell.
Yeah.
Hello,
Colin, how are
Mark
you?
and viewers everywhere. Soldiers in the struggle.
What's your take on
How y'all
tonight's event? What is your take on tonight's meeting?
Well, it was good to have the opposition leader here in the heart of PPP country, where most of their support base is in the New York metro area. So that was a bold move. I applaud the opposition leader for doing so. And I did notice that there was a mixed crowd here. It wasn't just a representation of just the black opposition, because as we know, the African Guyanese make up the bulk of the opposition. But here tonight, I did see a group of Indians as well, which is a good sign, because I believe that at this stage, a lot of citizens are beginning to realize that the PPP is really no good for Guyana. And in order for us to achieve progress and development of the nation, it will require all of our peoples coming together and fighting against injustice and everything that's bad for the land. So I was very pleased. I came in a bit late, so I will have 1,000 questions. Maybe it's a good thing I didn't get a chance to ask questions because
but thank you so much.
I can ask some very tough questions.
Good to see you there, though.
Good to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Colin Barnwell there. Wayne, if we can move around, let's get some other,
Yes. Mark, I have here with me Mr. Umani Elcock. Mark, he has a few
let's
words.
hear from Mr. Elcock.
What's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on today's festivity, sir?
It was refreshing. It was so refreshing to hear a different view and a different voice.
Yeah, and really good to see you guys out there this evening, Mr. Elcock.
Yeah, it's
good
been a
to
pleasure,
see you.
man. It's been
Yeah.
a pleasure.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. We can move around and probably get some of the females there, some of the other folks who asked some questions. Yeah.
Here's Mark.
Mark, what's up, bro?
Hey, how are you doing? What's going on?
Good to see you, man. I thought I would have seen you here, but I know your spirit is here.
Thank you. What are your thoughts on tonight's meeting?
Nice to meet you too. I look at your show. I always look at your show.
What are your thoughts on tonight's meeting?
It was very, very encouraging to hear the comrade leader, Aubrey Norton, address some key concerns. However, I'm not too satisfied with some of the answers he gave. For example, with the petition, he said it's still in court. He's not showing as much fight within him as the leader. And he tries to demotivate people from protesting. The people have a right to protest. Everybody has a right. That's a fundamental constitutional right. How you can tell people don't protest? You're playing into the PPP hands. No, they were protesting when the APNU was there. You understand what I'm saying? Another issue, I'm not satisfied with this clean voters list that he addressed. They have to play hardball with the PPP. No election until you have a clean voters list, because when they don't give a clean voters list, they're laying the groundwork to steal the next election, to cheat it. You understand? Just like they did the last time. So, but overall, it was very, very encouraging. You understand? It was good to see him here again, and I just hope that we see some great progress here from here onward. It's always good to see you, Mark.
Good to see you too. All right. Hopefully, Wayne, we can get some other folks, maybe some females, and then we'll try to see if we get a few words from Mr. Norton himself.
Okay.
Yeah, if you can walk around, do your thing.
No. Good job. Good job, Mark.
Thank you.
A linen guy, right? He's a linen guy?
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, if we can just go straight to Mr. Norton or someone there so we can get some other views from some folks here, please, Wayne. And for those of you who are now joining us, a town hall meeting in Queens in Little Guyana, Richmond Hill, just concluded there with the leader of the opposition, Aubrey Compton Norton. Okay, if we can get Mr. Norton there quickly for a minute.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Just go straight to Mr. Norton. Let us get him for a couple of minutes.
He's He's doing some introductions right now. I'm gonna get over there to him.
Thank you,
I
sir.
was
Yeah.
just hanging out a bit here with the security.
All right, that's okay. Let's go. Let's get straight to some other folks in the meanwhile there. Thank you.
Mark, I have Mr. Norton here.
Hi, Mr. Norton.
Don't rest.
No, absolutely not. I don't. Congratulations. It was a good meeting there. What are your
Thank you.
thoughts? What are your thoughts?
I'm live.
Yes.
My thoughts. I always felt that, look, wherever Guyanese are overseas, we must go meet them, express our views. It's up to them to embrace them or not embrace them. I thought it was a good opportunity for me to be in actual contact with the people in Little Guyana and to be able to bring our perspectives to bear so that they can do an assessment and not worry with some of the propaganda that they see around. And for me, that objective was achieved and it was a great interaction.
Absolutely. We don't want to keep you up because you know you got to meet some people there. Was it what you expected? Because a lot of people are saying that this was a good reception in the heart of Queens, Richmond Hill.
Well, I am comfortable. I'm happy. I anticipated that the PPP will protest. That is their job. But when it comes to the average person, just what I anticipated occurred. We came, we engaged, we agree, we disagree, and we move on.
What's your next move quickly? When is your next event in New York?
My next event in New York is next Thursday, but I'm heading to Washington for this weekend. So I'll be in Washington this weekend, and then I come back to New York for the rest of the visit.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
There you go, Mark. That was the leader of the opposition himself.
All right. So if we can see the
What's your thoughts on the proceedings?
Hi, Mark. Good night. How are you? Look,
Good night.
I saw this young man and recognized him immediately.
Yeah.
It was a very educated event. It was very informative. And even though we are in Little Guyana, and people might say we are in the Tiger Mouth, we are one Guyana, one people, one nation, and we are aiming for one destiny. So we are all happy to be here.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Thank you so much. Mark, you heard it there. The exercise this evening was very fruitful. There was a lot to learn, a lot to gain. Mark Benchop.
How are you? So how are you doing? How was tonight's event?
Hi everyone, good evening. It's a pleasure to see every one of you.
Yeah. How was tonight's event?
All right.
Okay.
All right, Mark. That young lady was all dressed out in her Guyana flag colors. The entire dress was a Guyana flag.
Well, we didn't get to see the dress. All you have the camera there. You can let us see the dress. You can let us see the colors and these sort of things.
Mark, we're being told to log more now.
Yeah, Mr. Caesar, we're yeah.
Mark, how you doing, brother? I spoke to him.
Right, yes. So how was tonight's event, Mr. Aishidan Senior? Many people seem to think that Wayne is getting quiet internet. I don't know what quiet internet means, but Mr. Caesar, you're getting a lot of feedback from your end and breaking up. So we may have to pull the curtain down from your end.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay.
Can I have a word with Leroy Ruperine? Can I have a word with that guy there, please, Wayne? Wayne. Wayne. All right, we just lost him there. We're going to be on for just a few minutes more. Bantu King, let's stay focused, please. Thank you. So that meeting there just wrapped up in the heart of Richmond Hill. It was a good meeting. That's all I can say. It was a good meeting. Those PPP guys, they didn't expect the turnout to be what it is. And people are just curious. People want to know what's going on in Guyana. And so they gathered there, so to speak. What are we going to do next? It's 18 minutes after 9 o'clock.
Basement level vibes with another one, straight up, blackness aye. Who tell the truth? Mark Brenscop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Brenscop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Brenscop, straight up from the root. Mark Brenscop, who tell the truth? Mark Brenscop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Brenscop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Brenscop, straight up from the root. Mark Brenscop, I do it for the love, him not do it for no money. Straight up, him attack, educating everybody. Big up my friends and big up my family. Turn on the radio.
This is attorney Shellen Washington, owner and founder of the Washington Law Firm, located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We're specialized in medical malpractice, personal injuries, matrimonial law, and landlord and tenant. If you're in need of legal representation, please give us a call today. The number to call is 718-877-3100. Consultation is free at no cost to you. So call us today to see if we can be of any assistance to your legal needs. Again, the phone number to call us is 718-877-3100.
All right, welcome back to Straight Up. Now we're Straight Up. My name is Mark Benshap. Lots of things we want to talk about tonight, but just for a few minutes, mind you. I think we still have Wayne there. I'm not sure what's happening on the ground. We have lost him, but let us just do a quick wrap up. Mr. Caesar, folks are getting ready to head home at this point in time, and your view on what transpired there this evening. Well, I've noticed somebody said that Mr. Caesar might be getting his internet connection from Sophia. I'm not sure what that means, but I kind of get a good idea exactly what they're talking about. He has been knocked off again. We don't want too many distractions with the on and off, getting knocked off, and so forth and so on. So as you probably got the news already, Trump has been charged. He has been booked. This is his mugshot. This is one of many mugshots that we're seeing around. It is the first time in the history of the United States of America that a former president has been indicted and has been booked and arraigned and mugshot taken. Back in 1973 or 74, I believe, somebody can correct me, maybe somewhere in that vicinity was the Watergate's. But Nixon, who faced charges and so forth, Richard Milhouse Nixon, that is, he, as president of the United States with the whole Watergate scandal, nothing compared to what we're seeing now. And so you would remember that famous goodbye as Richard Milhouse Nixon was heading up Air Force One for the last time. after he resigned. And then he resigned, as President of the United States of America. And his vice president then, you guys, let me see, who was his vice president? Was it Ford? Come on, guys. We all know, but it's just missing here for a moment. So his vice president, probably wasn't Ford, but his vice president pardoned him. His vice president pardoned him. Hence the reason he was not charged. There was no mugshot. There was nothing, absolutely nothing. Let's see, Johnson, thank you so much. It was indeed Johnson. Gosh, lots of bright people. So, Mr. Caesar, what's your take on tonight's event?
Yes, Mark, tonight's event was an excellent event. Many may question the venue, but I am totally...
Just one quick second. It wasn't Johnson, but it was indeed Gerald Ford. Thank you so much. There was a mistake. Johnson was actually under, I believe, JFK. Johnson took over from JFK, and Ford took over from Nixon, guys. So, yes, Mr. Caesar, go ahead, sir. Mr. Caesar, can you go ahead, please, sir? Yeah.
Yes, the comrade leader is making his exit here. Yes, Mark, tonight's event was an excellent event, very edifying. Certainly the questions that were asked were excellent questions. And from concern, PNCR and APNU supporters and Guyanese from a holistic perspective, because there are some individuals who were in the meeting that is not of the APNU plus AFC, but yet they were very key to listen, and to be edified. We asked a few of them in there, although it was off camera, what was their take. And to be honest with you, Mark, they were very, very satisfied. They actually liked some of the things that they would have heard from the comrade leader.
Yep. So as you were saying, Wayne, thank you, Mr.
Mark, permit me.
One quick second. Let Mr. Caesar finish, then we get straight back to Jason. Go ahead, Mr. Caesar.
Yes, Mark, that's it for me. You can speak to Jason. I'm going to come right back with you after.
All right, let's hear from
less than 30 seconds.
Ahead,
I
sir.
think the feedback was great in terms of they asked hard questions, and for somewhat those who would have been identified as elements of them, they are now prepared with a good message to counteract what they would have had or smeared upon as a bad outlook. But it's not like that. They're more open to reason. But the message was good.
Yep, thank you so much. And even the protest didn't work out for the PPP guys then, right?
Exactly, because the police men here, they were also like alarmed that why is it the installed, or the stooge rather, I refer to him as stooge, protesting the opposition. But after explaining the bad character that is out there trying to do smear campaign, they quickly reminded him to do the right thing. If not, he can face consequences. So with that, he gripped himself and went away. Thank you very much. Guyanese people, we love you.
1 second, Jason. Is Shoy out there?
Sorry.
Is Shoy out there?
Yeah, she just departed. Joy just departed.
She just left. All right, good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, Mr. Caesar, before we let you go, you're impressed with what you saw this evening, what you've witnessed this evening, in the heart of Queens, in the heart of Richmond Hill. We know that Barrett and Irfan are not going to like this at all, but talk to us a little, please.
Well, Mark, for the APNU plus AFC and their leader, Mr. Aubrey Compton Norton, to be able to come into this area, this section of Queens, and have a successful exercise as this that would have occurred tonight, it's extremely impressive. And, I'm really, really proud of what I would have seen tonight.
This is the moment that have this introduce us.
Ben's on right now.
All right, we have.
Yeah, that's all right. Let's see the people. Yep.
Well, this is it. The curtains has been brought down, and everyone is dispersing and heading home.
Yeah.
So,
And I think the police did a great job. The policemen and women did a great job. And are they still there? Let us just get a view of them. We can't talk to them, but at least let's get a view.
You know what, Mark, the coast is so clear that they would have already left. Imagine that.
Yeah, yeah.
They have already left. That's a show, man, that we are fully in control here.
Oh yeah,
Mr.
absolutely.
O.C. Rogers was here earlier, Mark. He tried a little.
We saw everything live right here on 107.1. It didn't work.
Yeah. He actually packed up with his additional 3 people that was with him.
Yeah.
And they left in a car. The car was pushing a lot of smoke, but they went that way. Okay.
Are you sure it's the car that's pushing the smoke or OC? But then again, that's another thing we'll discuss. But thank you so much, though, Mr. Wayne Caesar. Appreciate your time. Appreciate everything that you guys do. And Mr. Barnwell and all you guys have a safe trip home, guys.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Mark, anything else before we go, Mr.
Mark,
Caesar?
Okay, go ahead, Mark.
Anything else before we go?
Yeah, I was just going to say I'm going to tune into Straight Up now, and I encourage everybody to tune in and share the link. Let's go, Mark. I'm going to be tuning into Straight Up right now.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you, Wayne. Yeah. Well, I'll be honest with you. I'm not sure why Wayne thinks that he's going to tune into Straight Up and get to see me on Straight Up. I just have a few minutes more with you guys. You guys love to work me out, man. Seriously, you guys love to work me out. You don't say, Mark, you've been on for several hours, time for you to go. Have a good night. But no, well, I have a surprise for Wayne. By the time he tunes in, I'm out of here. But hey, guess what's happening? Trump arraigned. His mugshot taken. This is the first time in history. A lot of people have been saying that it should have been these guys, because remember, 19 fraud charges. It should have been this other guy. In terms of lots of corruption in Guyana. We heard it from Sue Gate, and we see who these guys are affiliated with. We see who even the acting commissioner of police, and all these guys should have been, the mugshot should have been for them, right? Also, but look, the first time in the history of the United States of America, a former president is arraigned, mugshot taken in a county jail. Mugshot taken. Don't you just love America, right? Yeah. All right. Don't forget, guys. Don't let your guards down. Elections around the corner next year. Presidential elections in the United States of America. Don't let your guards down at all. That's all I wish to say for now. But I've got to go. I really do. I know some of you might just say, guys have this way of, as we say, sucking their teeth. Well, tonight, you guys will definitely have to suck your teeth, because I'm out of here. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Same place, same time. And to those guys in the NYPD who were out there, they were very professional. As always, whenever there are these sort of protests, mind you, specifically speaking of the protests, they're always professional. Unlike what we see in Guyana, that some of those goons in the Guyana police force oftentimes go out there to intimidate, and they harass people in Guyana. Some of those hooligans in the Guyana police force, some of them, mind you, those PPP hooligans in the Guyana police force. But what the NYPD officers demonstrated this afternoon or this evening was very professional. And on behalf of all of us here at 107.1 FM, we say a big thank you to the members of NYPD. And to those PPP goons, those handful of PPP goons who were out there today. It didn't work. It just didn't work. They're so ashamed right now. It just didn't work. It didn't work tonight, and it's never going to work. Remember, those handful of goons who went out there do not have the strength to chase people out of a community, out of a borough that was fought for in terms of inclusivity, was fought for by people like us, all of us, to pave the way for people like them or like all of us to live right there in Queens, Brooklyn, wherever it is. But look at how things happen. How ironic, though, right? That they have the nerve to stand in the streets and chase people out or attempt to chase people out. Not so long ago, some of the Caucasian guys in Queens who were intolerant of other ethnic groups coming into Queens wanted to chase them out. Some were living in basement, wanted to chase them out. Some were doing their Jandy, wanted to chase them out. They don't want Jandy flags in front. All of those things I know because I was part of a protest with the Queens community long before some of them hopping into Queens now saying that they are political representative for Queens. They were nowhere around. Absolutely nowhere around. So before I go, this is going to hurt some of their heads. That Little Guyana is as a result of all of us. Every single one of us. Love you guys. I've got to go. God bless you. See you tomorrow. Same place, same time on 107.1 FM. So long, and thank you all for tuning in.
Basement level vibes with another one, straight up blackness. Who tell the truth? Mark Benscop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benscop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benscop, straight up from the root. Mark Benscop, who tell the truth? Mark Benscop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benscop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benscop, straight up from the root. Mark Benscop, I do it for the love, him not do it for no money. Straight up, him attack, educating everybody. Big up my friends and big up my family.
So, this is attorney Shellen Washington, owner and founder of the Washington Law Firm, located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We're specialized in medical malpractice, personal injuries, matrimonial law, and landlord and tenant. If you're in need of legal representation, please give us a call today. The number to call is 718-877-3100. Consultation is free at no cost to you. So call us today to see if we can be of any assistance to your legal needs. Again, the phone number to call us is 718-877-3100.
Yeah, my name is Jacinty Caldata Francis Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my ex next to the cop, and what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote.